Hello, people. This is Blink and You Miss It, if up here, and after 8 months of waiting since E3 2010, it's finally time for us to analyze a brand new Skyward Sword trailer. This is out just today from Game Developers Conference 2011, and yeah, so let's go ahead and jump on it. This is just going to be a brief analysis of the trailer.
Scenes showing Link in battle. Please take a look.
Please take a look. Interested yet? Yeah, me too. And so we're going to just take this little bit by little bit, look at the different things that kind of popped out to me from the trailer, starting with, let me kind of scroll back just a little bit. The logo itself, to begin with, you'll notice it kind of looks kind of like it's in shambles, as if it's taken from ruins. It's got the ivy growing on it. It's just kind of speaks to me of this is more of a it's telling the story that's of something more ancient than we're used to. You know, usually we see a really shiny, nice, crisp, Zelda logo, and this time around, it's not that way really. It's much more. I don't know how to put it. Legendary. I don't know how to put that. It's but you can see. I mean, just there's the ivy on it. It has a much more stone look to it than normal. It's not gold. It's just flat out stone. And so that I just thought that was interesting to note. We're going back to an origin story here, so it's appropriate, I guess, that we're talking about something more ancient and something more worn down, I guess. Right off the bat here we have some sort of a forest-looking area, I believe. Let me kind of scroll back just a little bit. This looks like the forest that we saw in the trailer. You can kind of see in the background there's the trees and stuff. And here we have this building that Link has either just left or is about to leave or head into or whatever. And it's, once again, we have this bird motif on the door. It just again is speaking of something kind of more ancient, more symbolic. Plus, it also relates to the Skyward Sword title. If you relate the birds to Skyward Sword. As information has been released about Skyward Sword over the past several months, one of the things we've learned is that you start off on this place called Skyloft, and so I would imagine this is what we're seeing as Skyloft, and the bird motif reinforces that for me. One thing I do want to mention before I move on. Look at Link's sword. He does not have the Master Sword yet. This is probably the sword you begin the game with, rather than anything else. And we've heard rumors, and I'm not entirely sure if they're confirmed reports, but I know I've heard rumors personally where the Skyward Sword ends up turning into the Master Sword over the course of the game, and as typical Zelda games usually have you get a normal sword, be it the Kokiri Sword or the Ordon Sword or whatever it may be, followed by the Master Sword or the special sword that you end up getting, it makes sense that this would be an opening area of the game, once again reaffirming this is Skyloft we're seeing. If you start out at Skyloft, you're going to have a normal sword at the beginning of the game. Here we see kind of an interesting little puzzle for opening doors. It's once again, like last time, it's all about the puzzles, and it's about, how you slash your sword when, reinforcing the motion control gameplay of Motion Plus. Here we have a good look at just kind of generally the battle screen. We are maintaining the lock-on system from Ocarina of Time. It's I guess never going to end, I guess, this lock-on in the games, which is a good thing because it's a system that works really well. I just thought I'd point it out. Also, we see once again how enemies' weak points are a very important aspect of the game. Most Zelda games in the past, there's some enemies with weak points. They're typically bosses, and the average enemy can just be cut apart with your sword. That's not the case in this game. You have to slash this enemy, and then as you'll see in the trailer, you have to stab in order to kill it. And then you'll see these little dot things, these little floating pebbles or whatever. You're slashing your sword in accordance with what the line on them is. So that guy had to slash vertically at the little enemy in order to cut it in half along its line, just like this right here. And you have to cut along the blue lines that are shown and cut down the statue. Also, you'll be able to reflect and deflect blows using your sword's control, and cutting apart the shield of this enemy right here. It looks to me like sort of a new version. It kind of looks like the new version of Moblins to me in this game. But you can see as you're slashing at the shield, it gets cut apart. Once again, a lot of strategy. Here's a little mini game, I'm sure, either a mini game or a training game, and odds are you'll get a piece of heart for doing it fast enough. But you're building up a certain number of blows and cutting down this big old bamboo shoot. Here we have a little graphical glitch. But here we have yet even more motion control focus, with you're balancing on this tightrope trying to get this guy to fall off. And there he goes. Here we have the practical application of the beetle. And as you can see, this room that it's showing, let me skip back just a little bit. This room that it shows, this is probably the room where you get the beetle in the first place. You see the open chest in front of Link. It looks kind of like a dungeon area, and in all likelihood you are going to get that here. Now, I want to point out a couple things about the HUD that have been changed just since E3. You can see we have these little icons on the side, this little bar that charges up. We have the Hylian shield shown in an icon there, and we have rupees shown there. I just wanted to point that out. Nothing too remarkable has been changed in the beetle gameplay, and then here we have a good look at some Dynafos, some sort of an armadillo enemy, but what I really want to point out, besides the enemy, is the landscape. We are going to be visiting a desert area, a desert area in Skyward Sword. There we have sort of a Dodongo-esque kill against some sort of a enemy, snail enemy thing. And then here's one of the things I found the coolest, and it definitely is going to use Motion Plus, but it seems that keys to doors are going to be puzzles themselves. You have to line them up perfectly. Here we have Astolfos, and then this guy is who I really want to talk about in this trailer, because he's kind of the most significant thing that we've seen in this entire game. I have a feeling he is going to be either the main enemy or a main enemy. It looks just like Zant. Just like Zant, he is sitting on top of a boss we're going to see Link fighting in just a little bit. If you'll remember Zant in Twilight Princess, when you were in the Arbiter's Grounds, Zant stabbed the dead remains of, what was his name again? Of the Star-Lord, with his, or I'm sorry, no, not the Star-Lord. What is his name? I can't remember his name at this particular moment, but the giant skeleton monster, I think it was a Star-Lord, I could be wrong. But he stabbed it with his sword, and he was kind of waiting for Link there. And this appears to me to be some sort of an ambush where this guy right here, who looks like a Zora, is kind of ambushing Link and activating this golden boss right here. This is what he was sitting on top of just a few moments ago. Here we have kind of a four-armed Stalfos. This is either the same one we saw earlier, and it's just earlier in the battle, so we haven't cut off all his arms yet, or he is a different kind of enemy entirely. And once again, we see this golden god boss thing. This is most likely one of the first 2 or 3 bosses you're going to fight in the game. And then, just like Midna, just like Zant, this Zora dude, I'm just going to call him a Zora because he looks like one, has the ability to teleport. Teleport! And once again, we have the logo. So, really, those are kind of what I observed from the trailer, and those are the things that I wanted to point out. So just leave in the comments what you thought about just this analysis, what you thought about, what your opinions are on the things we saw, especially on that Zora-looking guy. Do you think he is a Zora? Do you think he's the main enemy of the game, or some sort of a rival, or however it works out? So that's about all I got to talk about. This is Blink and You Miss It, signing out.